Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at New York's 19th Congressional District special election, which is occurring later today, August 23rd, coinciding with the New York and Florida primary elections. Now, unfortunately, I'm currently away this week, so I won't be able to actually cover those primaries in a live stream, but I'll probably make a live stream either on Friday night or sometime on Saturday to kind of discuss and break down some of the results there, because I certainly want to take some time to talk about them. And New York's results tend to come in pretty slow, so even by then we might still not have a final count in some of the close primary races. But anyway, let's get straight into it. Look at the dynamics of the 19th Congressional District. We'll also take a look at some of the previous election results and really the partisan lean of the district as a whole to kind of determine what the outcome is likely to be in tonight's results. But before we begin, please consider subscribing down below and liking this video if you enjoy. Now, again, as I mentioned, I'm currently away this week. I currently had a couple of videos scheduled to be released throughout the week, but unfortunately, I accidentally deleted the two videos that I really wanted to work on, and it's a little too late now to re-record them and get them out. So this is going to be the only video I have released until probably Saturday, or unless we do a live stream Friday night. So just be aware of that, because unfortunately I won't be able to make any more content for the rest of the week until at least Friday evening. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So taking a look at the special election as it stands currently. Mark Molinaro, who is the Dutchess County executive, he's the former Republican nominee for governor back in 2018, is currently running against Ulster County executive, which is Ulster County's home of New Paltz, Pat Ryan. Now, currently the polls on average, if you average all these polls together, Mark Molinaro has a 7-point lead over Pat Ryan. Now, these polls really aren't that great. They're all partisan-leaning polls. You have two Democratic partisan polls, and you have two Republican polls. But if you average all of the results together, you start to get a picture where you have Mark up ahead with 47.8% and Pat with 40.2%. Now, again, this is a race that, you have ratings such as toss-up and lean Republican. Republicans should be able to pick up this seat fairly easy. It's a seat that Biden only won by 1.6% back in 2020. The candidates are running under the old district, not the new one, which is actually slightly bluer. So this is actually a slight advantage to Mark Molinaro. Also, a large majority of Dutchess County is in the 19th district. I think in the new 19th, it's really Rensselaer, and then you kind of go west here. So Dutchess County is really in the 18th district mostly. So he's not even in that new district. Now, what's funny is Pat Ryan in the November elections isn't running for this seat. He's running for the 18th Congressional District, and then Mark Molinaro is running for the 19th Congressional District. So regardless of what happens in tonight's election, these candidates won't be versing each other again. They're going to be running in different elections. So Mark Molinaro, despite doing quite poorly in the governor's race overall, he only got about 36.2% of the vote, underperformed in southern New York. He did exceptionally well in upstate New York. In fact, he won counties such as Clinton County, Columbia County, Dutchess County. He won counties that Donald Trump wasn't even able to win back in 2016. And 2018 was a much bluer environment. He was able to win his home county of Dutchess County by about 7 points. Donald Trump lost Dutchess County narrowly. He was able to win places like Columbia County by 2, which, going ahead to 2020, this county was an extremely blue county, which went to Joe Biden by nearly 17 points, Dutchess County by almost 10. So Mark Molinaro was able to bring down these margins considerably and get a sizable amount of Democrats to actually vote for him. He's very popular in upstate New York, obviously being from up here. And, even in some of these urban counties, Albany County, Onondaga, these cities that, back in 2016 weren't exactly that close. You had Hillary Clinton winning Onondaga by over 13, Rochester County by a safe margin, about 15 points, Monroe County, sorry. Buffalo winning that by about 6-7 points. So, in all of these cases, Molinaro was able to make these counties closer, and I think that speaks to his electability in this district particularly, because he was able to do fairly well in the Hudson Valley area where this district is located. Now, back in 2016, the 19th district actually was a +6 district for Donald Trump. So if we look back at the 2020 elections, upstate New York had a sizable shift to the left, especially here in the Hudson Valley area and really all along eastern upstate New York, kind of bordering New England. You got Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, areas like that. And again, you know, all of the state really trended to the left except the New York City area, which actually trended to the right, the most pronounced of which was Bronx County, which moved to the right by 12 points. But, you know, taking a look at the district's results over the past 3 cycles, you know, back in 2016, this was a district that was in Republican hands. You had John Faso, who was a non-incumbent Republican, actually win this district by about 8.2%, getting 54.1% of the vote. Again, Donald Trump won this district by 6. He ended up winning it by about a little over 8 points. Fast forward to 2018, this was a district that Antonio Delgado, who is now the current lieutenant governor, ended up winning by a little bit over 5 percentage points. He actually became lieutenant governor after Governor Kathy Hochul sort of tapped him for the role, since the former lieutenant governor was currently facing charges on corruption. So he was forced to step down, not able to run for re-election again, and she chose Delgado, who was representing the 19th District, to be lieutenant governor. Now, this was a seat, again, this was a Trump seat in 2016. It was a seat he was able to flip by about 5 points in 2018. And in 2020, he won this district by a safe margin. And again, there's a lot of split ticket voting in this part of the state. And I think Mark Molinaro benefits from that because you have a lot of people, Dutchess County, which is sort of a leans blue county, a purple county, if anything. He's from there. He's the executive there. He's fairly popular, so I think he's going to do well. Obviously, Ulster County, which is home to Pat Ryan, I think he's going to do fairly well there, you know, with a lot of the college students. But this is a sort of different election dynamic because this election is being held coinciding primary elections. This is not your standalone special election. So you're going to have people of both parties who are reliable voters coming out to actually vote in these elections. And, you know, if we take a look at the actual results, the county breakdown from 2018. I wish New York Times showed the 2016 county breakdown too, so we can kind of see the change there. But, you know, Delgado is overperforming in a lot of these places. Sullivan County, which is a county that Molinaro won by 10 on the exact same ballot, you know, Faso only won by less than a point. You know, Columbia County ends up going about 15.6% for Delgado. That's a county that Mark Molinaro won on the governor's ticket, and so on. So there's a lot of cases of this. Dutchess County, same thing. This segment of Dutchess County, Delgado won with 51.9% of the vote. So, you know, he's able to get these independents who might vote Democrat on parts of the ballot, but will end up voting for him. Now, again, the primary dynamic is going to make things a little tricky. I think Mark Molinaro will probably do better in November than he would today, since this isn't really your typical election. But nonetheless, I think Mark is still going to end up winning at the end of the day. You know, I think a good margin for him is probably anywhere from 5 to 6 points. I think if this race is within 3 points, that's a very bad sign for Republicans because Mark Molinaro is a very strong candidate. You know, Pat Ryan is also a pretty good candidate as well. I think he's running a pretty decent campaign, but I don't think he's as well known as somebody like Mark Molinaro, who again already won for statewide office. He overperformed in upstate in some cases over Trump. In fact, in a lot of these counties, Mark did better than Donald Trump did. But nonetheless, you know, these are both pretty strong candidates. I think Mark Molinaro is certainly the best Republican they could have drafted to run for this seat. I ultimately think he's going to win. You know, again, these ratings are toss-up or lean Republican. I think this is about a lean margin. I think you're going to see a 5 to 6 point margin. Given that it's an open seat, I think Mark might even do better in November, winning by about 8 or 9, considering that he's going to be in an incumbent running in a pretty favorable year for Republicans. And again, there is a difference between the statewide Republicans running around the country, you know, for Senate or for governor, and some of these House candidates, you know, because I think the Republican Party did a lot better of a job drafting strong House candidates than they did with their statewide candidates. I think a lot of the statewide candidates have a significant amount of baggage. In some cases, they have some fringe opinions that might turn off independents. But I think Mark Molinaro is a very safe choice. He's a very generic Republican, in some cases even slightly moderate on some issues. You know, he's not somebody who thinks abortion should be banned in all cases. You know, he has reasonable exceptions that the vast majority of the public would support. And, you know, Pat Ryan has made it a centerpiece of his campaign to kind of say that, Mark Molinaro is kind of this guy that will ban all abortion. And, that's not really a message that I think will resonate in this part of New York, especially since Mark Molinaro ran a, sort of personally pro-life but wouldn't change the laws type of campaign when he ran for governor back in 2018. And while he's probably moved a bit to the right since he's running for a federal office, he's still sort of seen as a moderate, very run-of-the-mill type of candidate. And, he's been in elected office since he was 18 years old in some capacity or another. So he's very well known in the Hudson Valley. So, obviously, if Republicans are overperforming in this seat, which I don't really expect Republicans to get some sort of 8 or 9 point margin, although if they do, I think that'll be pretty significant. But I expect it to be somewhere around 5 points, maybe 6 points in favor of Molinaro. Again, if it's lower than 3, I think that's very bad news for Republicans because, Molinaro is a strong candidate. So that really means that there's some sort of turnout differential. And I know that there's primaries coinciding with this. We saw that in Minnesota as well, and that actually helped the Democrats. But, in this case, with Molinaro being such a strong candidate and somebody who could win over some Democratic-leaning independents and independent voters upstate, I certainly think it would be a very bad sign for him if this race is within 3 points. Again, it's an open seat. There's no incumbent, but still, he's a very strong candidate. And I think if Molinaro can't do well in this district, I think it bodes very poorly for other Republicans running in a lot of these districts they want to flip in November. So anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I apologize in advance for not releasing more content for the rest of the week. I probably will end up doing a live stream sometime on Friday night, somewhere around 8 or 9 Eastern, depending on what time I end up getting home. So hopefully we'll be able to break down the primary results in depth. We'll take a look at New York and Florida. So mark your calendars. We're definitely going to try and cover those races because we can't cover them live tonight. So anyway, again, thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe down below and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any more videos I put out. And as always, again, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.